Hey, so this video is not going to be a formal, well put together anything. It's just a flow of consciousness. And the reason why is because this is actually from when we finished filming the episode that's going to drop very soon, which is about rule changes from 2020 and which ones we would keep for 2021 if it was up to us. This is a discussion about that started with the talk about the universal DH. It's just like a flow of consciousness. Again, we just thought there was a lot of substance in here that we just wanted to upload just to show you guys anyway. Again, it's not a formal video. It's just a stream of just a conversation. We hope you guys enjoy it because we think there's
It was because it was your
It
idea.
was my idea. You're right.
It was your
Because
like,
I was the
he
one
talked
that
about it,
because
but
I
this
was
is
the
all
one
my
that went
idea.
back. I was the one that went back and was like, I'm just curious, like how does like how far back would we have to go before we got a sub 500 team in the playoffs?
Yeah.
And like how far back did it go? And when I did one team, it was like 5 or 6 years, and then like
I think it was 2 teams in 10 years in all of baseball. That would have been that.
Yeah, it was. I think it was two teams in all of baseball, and they both would have been wild card teams if anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but if you did two teams in expanded playoffs, it was like half of the years there would be a team that was sub 500, which was ironic because it happened more in the American League than the National League, which I found very just interesting. That was the trend. I couldn't tell you why.
It's funny how you say it because remember the
Do you think the DH makes dominant teams more dominant?
well no I'm just getting there, or at least as far as attendance goes. The reason why is because remember how everyone said like, oh, no one wants to see a pitcher hit. No one wants to see pitchers hit.
But
If
yet,
they're DH,
what
people
was
will
it?
show up to the
Three out
ballpark.
of the top five.
Three out of the top five, no, 4 out of the top 5
Were
were
all
National League teams.
Yep.
10 of the top 15 were National League teams,
Yeah.
and 2 of the top 3 were National League teams.
Yeah. Because the only one
It
that
was consistently
it was like the
American
Yankees
League
and
in the
everybody
lower
else,
half.
right?
Yeah, it made no fucking difference. People liked the game regardless.
Yeah. And so here's my thing too, right? Like, we talk about if we were doing like a longer segment on this, like this would be something that would bring up. People talk about pace of play. Well, the DH reduces pace of play, right?
Yeah.
Because you're talking about the fact that a major league pitcher basically gets 2 at bats a game, which is also part of the problem, I think, with getting into the later innings of games for pitchers. Because like pitchers used to have a free basically 2/3 of an inning earlier in a game, like 2/3 of an inning were just like boom, 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 done.
Yeah, or
Like,
1/3 of an inning. You mean?
2/3 because a pitcher typically gets 2 at bats
Oh, okay.
before you start talking pinch hitters.
Oh, so
So
you mean the game as a whole? I got.
So
you.
the
I
game
got
as a whole, like you're talking 2/3 of an inning that is basically just like boom, 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 done.
I gotcha.
So like think about how much that speeds up the game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, pitchers can get on base, like then it's not going to make a difference. I get that. But typically, more times than not, a pitcher isn't going to get on base. And so, like I said, boom, 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 2/3 of an inning is just taken out of the game. And now you're talking about a pitcher getting a free 2/3 of an inning, lowering their pitch counts, allowing them to go further into a game. Thus further speeding up a game because you're not having pitching changes. Potentially leading to them having a 3rd at bat where they're also going to get out. Leading to a whole inning that was basically just like taken out of the game. That's basically what you've created.
Yeah.
Like, so by putting the DH in the game, you're inherently slowing down the game.
Yeah. Which is kind of a paradox when you think about it.
Yeah. It's like you want more offense and you want a faster pace of play, but they're directly competing against each other almost.
Yeah.
especially in today's game. Not so much like I'm not like I understand that like in the 80s and whatever, like the games were still played very quickly. I understand this, but it is just a pure fact that the game is not played that fast anymore.
Yep.
And the only ways you're going to do it is by putting a pitch clock on pitchers or by removing the DH altogether. My argument would be it would lead to a better overall quality of game because of the fact that more players are getting exposed to playing every day, even if it means just taking an at bat every day. Because think about it, how many times do you have a guy on your bench that you have never heard of that never gets an at bat?
For me, not recently, because everyone's been injured, so everybody fucking plays.
But you get what I'm saying. Like, how often is it, like, in the course of, like, you know, say, like, you know, someone got hurt, you call up some random guy for, like, 2 games. He never gets an at-bat because he doesn't have to, because there's no pinch hitters in the game.
Yep.
You know, so, like, it deliberately, like, creates this, like, caveat where it's, like, you put your best players on the field and never have to take them off.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, by keeping the pitcher hitting, you, at times, like for the Mets, for example, it's like you're being forced to choose between, like, or like right now, the Mets are basically being forced to choose between playing Brandon Nimmo in center field or having Dom Smith play left field. Both of those things are very bad defensively for the Mets, but they're being forced into that decision to keep their bats in the lineup because of the fact that they don't have a DH. If you have a DH, the simple solution is you get a defensive center fielder like Jackie Bradley Jr. or an equivalent, put Nimmo in left field, Dom Smith either at first base and DHing Alonso, or you DH Dom Smith and put Alonso at first. That is a significantly better defensive team for the Mets, but they're being forced into this decision where they have 2 really good players that they need in the lineup every day, whose positions are filled by other players who are also really good.
Yep.
You know, it creates these decisions that have to be made for teams, and that's why I just think it creates a better game because, you know, you're forced into these decisions.
Yeah.
You know, and people...
There's more consequences. There's more room for shit to hit the fan.
Well, it's the defense over offense argument. Mm-hmm. You know, where you put the DH in the game and you get both.
Yeah.
You know, you just automatically eliminate the potential issue. Yeah. And it's like, some people would argue, well, that makes for a better game. It's like, does it though? Because you want more hits and you want more like balls in play. So under that circumstance, when you play the Mets, you know that their left field and their center field are very weak defensively. So does that mean you put in a heavy right-handed hitting team, even if you're facing a right-handed pitcher, because you want them to pull balls into the air more to left field? These are the things that happen.
I genuinely think that the universal DH is not going to have as big an impact on the quality of the game as people think.
Oh, I don't either. I don't think it's going to make a difference worth a damn.
I think it's a whole hullabaloo about nothing, and it's. But I say that, but like I don't want it. You know what I mean?
Well, you want it because you don't think it's gonna. You don't want it because you don't think it's gonna make a difference. You don't think it's gonna make the game.
I don't want it because I think it's fun.
Yeah.
To have something different when I go to the National League.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yep. Anyway.
Yep.
What rule are we talking about?
Well, I could take that whole conversation piece and just tag it on to the end.
You probably could just make a whole separate video. Be like, you want a rant on the DH?